Hey, it's Seba, and I'm glad you're back for another episode of Lifestyle Self-Made, where we talk about anything that allows us to live the life we want on our terms. Throw out the idea of perfection, but create opportunities for ourselves and really find contentment in all the chaos and messiness. So, I've been getting lots of great feedback, and thank you so much. One theme that's coming up, people I've talked to, is the feeling of carrying the world on your shoulders. And I feel that. I know that. There's a lot of responsibility on myself, too. I have, obviously, financial responsibility for a lot of people, actually. And my children need extra help with things. Some are adults, but there's a lot going on. And it does feel overwhelming sometimes. And I know a lot of our listeners are parents, they're caregivers of their own spouses or maybe their parents. And I know a lot of people they're not in the workforce because of disabilities or mental health struggles. And I think a lot of us are in this, right? A lot of us are also parents or maybe especially mothers because we just absorb all these responsibilities, right? And I think a little bit of that is because sometimes we think there are certain ways things should be done and we don't slow down to ask for help. Even if we could ask for help, we don't necessarily want it because we do things the best. I see that play out all the time. It played out in my life. I see it play out in my mom's life and all over the place. And that's definitely not exclusive to mothers. Sometimes it feels like all these roles we take on, they're not negotiable. And we have a society that glorifies doing it all. And I don't know, do we have to do it all? I think that's something that we tell ourselves. And maybe we feel societal pressure or pressure from family or things like that. But like, seriously, you're your own person and you know who and what is most important to you. And you get to decide how that works. Sometimes that just means like doing less. First of all, set your priorities, right? What is most important in your life? And carve out your schedule that way. If you have a full-time job, it becomes a little more difficult to decide how to spend your time working on ways for you to escape that. Finding ways to work from home if your employer can, or an employer that will allow you to work from home. Taking on clients of your own, or developing an online business of some sort, right? That allows you to pick your schedule. But I want to focus a little on the perfection trap. Now, I did touch on it, but letting others help means letting go of your way being the only way. Like, we have to realize that it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. And also, if we never let our family members or household members do things to help us, and even if they don't know how to do it very well, they're never going to learn because you don't let them. They're also not going to want to help you because you're not satisfied with how it's done. Oh my goodness. That's me, man. I have done that many times and I'm still learning to undo that. And sometimes it just means doing less and not even saying anything to anyone around you. And when you do less, when you just say simply, I can't do this anymore, I can't handle that part, and you don't ask them to do it, but they're going to start filling in. I've noticed that many times in my life. I also know that probably comes from my mom, but I want to share something, a little story that my mother takes care of my dad who has dementia and Parkinson's, full-time caregiver. And she was doing it all. She's still doing it all, actually, technically speaking. We kept encouraging her to help, offering to help, but not really knowing where to help because it was hard to figure out where to do that for her. And then she finally has my dad enrolled in this cool program where I think it's twice a week now. He goes to hang out with other people his age who are also having similar health issues. And they hang out, they shoot the shit, they play games and stuff like that. And that gives her a break. And Honestly, my mom uses probably that time mostly to get errands done and stuff like that, but at least she can do that with the confidence and peace that he's not at home alone and could possibly do something to hurt himself. But sometimes she uses it to hang out with her friends. I remember she told me when we were trying to encourage her to get some help with my dad, she said, "You need to have friends." And she says, "I don't need friends." Like, what are you talking about, mother? You do need friends. And I think she's realized that and started rebuilt some connections that she had. She used to play tennis competitively, not professionally, but competitively. I don't think she's back into that because through having to lift my dad and stuff, now she has some of her own physical issues as well. Like she's connected with some of those people she knew and things like that. So that's really good. I also want to share a little story. I didn't actually mean to share so much of what my mother does, as my mom is a private person. I hope I'm doing okay by her by sharing this. What I really wanted to share was something beautiful that in this group that my dad goes to, he was getting in trouble. It's because he walks with a walker, and when they're playing things or doing things, they're supposed to say be seated. But my dad was excited, getting up, not listening. But the story is that they play this game, and the winners get a chocolate, just like the little Halloween chocolate. And he would get so excited, right? And he wants to win, and he's standing. And they told my mom, like, if he does this anymore, he just won't be able to come. But he explained to my mom why he was doing it. I can't go to the store anymore and buy you a chocolate. So he just wants to win so he could give my mom a gift because he can't do that anymore. And it's so lovely. And we have to keep those kinds of things in mind. My parents will be married 57 years in just a few days. They took care of each other. Now she takes care of him. So beautiful. But it doesn't have to be perfect. But we have to remember those wonderful things. And we have to remember the people who are close to us and what they mean to us. And protecting those relationships too. Like things get stressful, right? And my dad is such a kind-hearted, sweet man. But now the dementia, he can't remember things. Sometimes he's still mostly sweet and he still makes jokes. He's still like one of the funniest guys I know, intentionally. But sometimes he's not as nice. And I like tell my mom, and she doesn't complain. She just says it happens. And it's like she doesn't recognize him. I'm like, Mom, you had it so good. Dad would never, even my mom would get mad. He would just be calm, this peaceful, always 100% loving person. So I'm like, you had a really good run, Mom. Dad was sweet and kind. And yeah, now it's a little bit challenging. But she acknowledges that too. So I better stop talking about my family because I know they are private, but I know a lot of people relate to stuff like this. Also within that, I want you to really think about like caring for yourself. That's what we needed my mom to do. I think that we all have to find those like small moments in the day where we do things for ourselves, or we get into, even when we're doing work, like routines that don't feel like work, but they're just something that we do because we know we're doing this for the people we love. Like I have a routine when I get up. I have an old senior dog who actually I cannot leave home alone for a variety of reasons. One of them being incredible separation anxiety, right? So I am doing my own caregiving and I can't reason with my dog. I'm going to be back in 10 minutes. Stay calm. I can't do that. And in the mornings, I have this routine where I have to clean up after her. But she makes a mess. And it's okay that I have to do that because I love her. And we chose to adopt her as a senior dog who was basically neglected by her former owners. We decided to bring her to our family, and she is our family. And my whole morning routine sort of is revolved around getting organized so that I can care for her. And then I can also do the other things I have to do to care for others. And some of those things are chores. Some of those things are for me. Like I do yoga in the morning, every morning, especially when I feel too busy and I don't think I have time for yoga. There is that quote, and I don't know who it comes from. If you think you don't have time to meditate for 10 minutes, meditate for 2 hours or something like that. Yeah. But it's true because doing the yoga in particular makes me slow down. It's me doing something for myself. It's me learning to shut out all those thoughts that just keep going. And the more I do that, the better I sleep at night. The less I wake up in the night. I know you probably wake up in the middle of the night trying, oh my God, I got to do this. And you're remembering the thing you forgot to do. And you're like taking these mental notes as you wake up and you fall asleep. And then it permeates your dreams. I'm learning to shut my mind off in the middle of the night, where sometimes when you're half between consciousness and unconsciousness, you aren't thinking logically. And the dreams roll into the real world and all hell breaks loose inside your head. Take care of yourself. Fine. It doesn't have to be yoga for you. I'm not going to push it on you. I think it's a life-saving practice. It has saved my life a few times. But something that matters to you, also just caring for yourself in other ways, making nourishing, wonderful food, healthy food, but that is also delicious, is all possible instead of rushing through everything, eating quickly. I moved finally, as you probably know by now, and I'm in a little town and there's no DoorDash or Skip the Dishes or whatever you might be familiar with. And that has been such a blessing because it used to be just like a habit, right? I'm tired. I don't feel like, okay, I'm just going to order something. And it's good food, right? But it's so expensive. It's a waste of money. There's so many other good things that money could go to. And also, it means that you're not engaged in your life as much. So it's funny, right? Like saying you don't have to do it all, but you should start cooking. But you cook simple meals, right? But that are delicious. I love going to the farmer's market and making those vegetables be a large part of the meal and often raw because my daughter she's picky about some foods. It's hard to get her to eat stuff, but she loves vegetables and she doesn't like them cooked. And it's only her and I living here full time. And so I adapted to what she wanted. Like, I love cooking vegetables, but I'm like, why not? More salads for me. Sometimes I slice vegetables in different ways, like a little thinner, so they don't have to be cooked, but they offer a lovely texture in the food. Some people don't like vegetables, and apparently there's a whole movement out there of thinking that vegetables are maybe bad for you and we should only be eating protein or something like that. That's okay too. Within that, you find what matters to you. Slow down. Just think about what's most important to you. Write down those priorities and build everything else around them. Also have a little toolkit for you that you can download free with the notes in this episode. And if you happen to be a coach or some kind of professional that would like to share that toolkit with your customers and clients, I do have an option for you to get a private label license for that content where you can put your own name on it and share it, edit it to what matters to you. But I love making tools like this, things that make people think, help them get organized and centered, motivated, and ready to take things on. So that option is there for you. If you just want to use it for yourself or share it with your friends personally, just download it for free, share it with them, and hopefully tell them about the podcast. So I'd like to leave you with thought that when the world feels like it's on our shoulders, it really is us putting it there. We've allowed this to happen. And that doesn't mean that like you can suddenly get rid of all your responsibilities. Absolutely not. Like we have things that we have to do. And for some of us, it's a lot of stuff we have to do. But when we prioritize and say no to the things that don't fit in those priorities, when we do a little less, expect less perfection, and give space for people to fill in, then things change. And when you take care of yourself and find those moments of joy, and even if it is just being so grateful for a story like I told you about my mom, and maybe someone you love has brightened your day like that too. Cherish those moments. All right. So that's it for Dear Alice for today. I would love for your feedback, your questions, your rants, vents. Like, honestly, if you just want to say how frustrating things are for you or brag about how wonderful things are going, I want to hear it all. So I'll give you the link. You can submit confidentially or with your name. It totally depends on what you'd like to do. The comments are also open if you're watching this on our website or on YouTube. So I'll be in touch soon. And for now, grab that free kit or grab the license if it's something that would be useful to you and your clients, if you have clients. And I'll see you next time.